In George Orwell's classic dystopian fiction novel 1984, the protagonist's first act of rebellion against the state is to sit down and write in his journal. The ability to express your thoughts on paper has brought down governments, brought about revolutions in ideas, and allowed people to reach new levels of insight and self-discovery. But how can we journal like a philosopher? Well, here are 5 steps to get you started. Step 1. Questions. The fundamental tool in the toolbox of the philosopher is the question. As far back as the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, the value of a well-placed question was recognised and held in very high regard. Here you can use it to examine yourself and the world around you. Take some deeply held beliefs you hold about yourself and about the world, and hold them up to scrutiny. Here are some questions to get you started. What has caused you to believe this? What are your reasons for believing this? In what way could you be wrong about this? In what way could you think differently about this? And is this belief actually true? Of course, the number of questions you can ask is limitless, so test them out. The important thing is to stay persistent. A lot of people get writer's block while journaling and then think it's not for them. But stick with it, and let the belief that you want to interrogate come to you naturally. 2. Ways of approaching the world. If you leaf through the journal of Roman Emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, you'll find a series of ideas and beliefs about how to approach the world in a calm, stoic way befitting the most powerful person on earth. You'll find his personal philosophy that he found brought him consolation in times of struggle. For him, this was the recognition of how much of the world was outside his control, and how he could only really control his thoughts and his actions. For you, this way of approaching the world might work perfectly well, or you might want to try out another. Perhaps the more romantic Nietzschean ideal of struggling appeals to you, or the Buddhist approach of cultivating unconditional love for all beings. These are all options you can use to shape your personal approach to reality. Write down how you think you approach the world, and see how it can be changed to be more effective. This form of journaling allows you to take a broad view, and see if there's anything you'd like to change about how you live your life. It's a healthy habit to get into, as a lot of us hang on to outdated strategies long after they've exhausted their usefulness. Think of this as a sort of philosophical hygiene ritual, like washing your hands, but for your approach to life itself. 3. Evaluate the day. Aristotle was a big believer in putting constant effort towards cultivating our virtues, and journaling is a great way to achieve this. For a long time now, I've evaluated my days in my journal to ask myself where I did well and where I might want to improve. For instance, if I took my journal entry from about 3 weeks ago, I would see that I was broadly happy with my work output, but think I could have been a bit more patient. So since then, I've put conscious effort to work on my patience. Over time, this will allow you to identify the kind of characteristics that you would like to cultivate, and to shape your life around those. Too many people just fall into being who they are, as opposed to designing and shaping their character into the person they would love to be. You don't need to evaluate every day, but a little bit of exploration from time to time can do the world of good. 4. Think about the big questions. This is what people have been waiting for. When we imagine philosophers sitting down to journal, we think of them facing huge questions like, what is the mind? Does God exist? What does it mean for something to be right and wrong? And so on. A lot of people dismiss this kind of journaling, but I think it can be really helpful. Getting stuck into these deep questions challenges your mind to comprehend something truly difficult and boggling. And thinking about these abstract concepts trains your skills in thinking deeply and examining topics in detail. Whatever your field is, this can translate very well into your everyday life. So don't be afraid to journal about that deep question you've always wondered about. It's not just the domain of academics. And the thoughts you come up with about these big ideas might have broader implications than you think. A whole religion was born when the Buddha sat down and meditated about life for a few days. Who knows what insights you might come up with. 5. Enjoy it. Finally, shape your journaling around what you enjoy writing about. If you prefer introspection, then do more of that. If you prefer thinking about the world, then put more time into that. Shape your thinking in the direction you want it to go, and don't let anyone tell you that their direction is inherently better. Least of all me. Lots of people find great value in journaling, but they don't stick with it because they're putting so much pressure on themselves to do it a certain way, and then it stops being enjoyable. Take the tips that you find work for you, and if something doesn't, then don't worry about it. I hope you found this video helpful, and stick around for more on logic, philosophy, and thinking better.